I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Just as another example of how not serious of an individual Donald Trump is, all of the disinformation that he spews. Let's just take this example. So the Fulton County Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney released very small portions from the special grand jury report as part of their investigation into 2020 election crimes by Donald Trump and others. And specifically, McBurney did not release the full report because he wanted to provide due process right protections to individuals whose names are in the report, who the special grand jury recommended for indictments to be criminally prosecuted, as I surmised based on what Robert McBurney said in his order publishing certain portions of the special grand jury report, but not others. McBurney said that significantly there are individuals, or maybe individuals, who the special grand jury recommended be criminally indicted who actually did not appear before the special grand jury. So to protect their due process rights before indictment, their names are not released. And I surmise that's probably referring to Donald Trump. So the three portions that were released were the introduction, the conclusion, and Section 8. And Section 8 just says that the special grand jury had concerns that certain individuals who testified before it were not being truthful and should be prosecuted for perjury. That section was able to be released because that small Section 8 did not actually list the names of the individual. So while all evidence is that the special grand jury recommended that many people in Trump's inner circle be criminally indicted, including likely Donald Trump, but those portions are not released. And indeed, the special grand jury also found that there was not election fraud that would have the results of overturning the 2020 election, in direct contradiction to what Donald Trump has said and all of the disinformation Donald Trump had. Despite that fact, Donald Trump has issued statements claiming total exoneration. Okay, here's the post that Donald Trump made. Thank you to the special grand jury in the great state of Georgia for your patriotism and courage. Total exoneration. The USA is very proud of you. Okay, that is Putin, Kim Jong-un style disinformation right there, because it said the exact opposite, the report, and Judge McBurney's report also made clear the exact opposite. Look, if you go into the report, one of the things that was released that the special grand jury said is the grand jury heard extensive testimony of the subject of the alleged election fraud from poll workers, investigators, technical experts, and state of Georgia employees and officials, as well as from persons still claiming that such fraud took place. We find by a unanimous vote that no widespread fraud took place in the Georgia 2020 presidential election that could result in overturning the election. And to be clear, there were the grand jury consisted of 26 Fulton County residents, 3 of whom were alternates. So unanimously saying that everything that Donald Trump said is completely and utterly false. And Donald Trump goes total exoneration. Trump also writes, the long-awaited important sections of the Georgia report, which do not even mention President Trump's name, have nothing to do with the president because President Trump did absolutely nothing wrong. The president participated in 2 perfect phone calls regarding election integrity in Georgia, which he is entitled to do. In fact, as president, it was President Trump's constitutional duty to ensure election safety, security, and integrity between the 2 calls. There were many officials and attorneys on the line, including the Secretary of State of Georgia, and no one objected, even slightly protested, or hung up. President Trump will always keep fighting for true and honest elections in America. First off, you're not the freaking president. Do not slander the United States of America by still calling yourself the president, okay? You absolutely are not. And while you held that office, you acted like a complete maniac and traitor, fascist, who embarrassed this country so greatly here and abroad.
And now let's take a quick break to talk about our next partner, Lomi. Now, I've never been able to compost before. It was always too complicated, too much work, and frankly, I don't think I even knew exactly if I was doing it right. Then I got a Lomi. Lomi allows me to turn my food scraps into dirt with just the push of a button. Lomi is a countertop electric composter that turns scraps to dirt in under 4 hours. There's no smell when it runs, and it's really quiet. Thanks to Lomi, I have way less garbage each week. My family, we're down from 3 bags per week to just 1. And here's something pretty cool. My wife, she recently started gardening, and we've been able to use the dirt that Lomi produces to help fill the garden. And since I got my Lomi, I throw out way less garbage. That means it's not going to landfills and producing methane. Instead, I turn my waste into nutrient-rich dirt that I can feed to my plants. I feel so great knowing that I'm composting and creating soil instead of waste. And I have basically a limitless supply of dirt for my garden. The other week I had my in-laws over for dinner, and the food cleanup process was such a breeze. Plus, they all think I'm super eco-conscious now. If you want to start making a positive environmental impact or just make cleanup after dinner that much easier, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/Meidas and use the promo code Meidas to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you head to lomi.com/Meidas and use promo code Meidas at checkout. Food waste is gross. Let Lomi save you a cold trip out to the garbage can. And now, back to the video.
So then you write the long-awaited important sections of the Georgia report. These are not the long-awaited important sections. The long-awaited important sections are not the sections that have been released. Those are remaining under seal. They have not been released to protect the due process rights of individuals who the special grand jury recommended be criminally prosecuted. For example, you, Judge McBurney, is trying to protect your due process rights because even fascist traitors like you have constitutional protections in our democracy, a democracy where you are trying to terminate the United States Constitution and destroy our democracy. But nonetheless, when a judge says we need to protect the due process considerations of people whose names might be mentioned in the report, but who didn't appear before the special grand jury, you use that and turn around to say total exoneration when it's the exact opposite that's taking place, because what you also want to happen here is you want to bait the Fulton County District Attorney or the judge to then say, no, actually, it's not a total exoneration. Donald Trump's name is written in this. That's what you're trying to bait them to say, because when you claim total exoneration, you want Fani Willis, the district attorney, to say it's actually not a total exoneration. His name's in there. You know why you want her to do that? Because then you're going to play the victim and you're going to go, oh, she said my name. My due process rights have been violated. I can't be indicted now. She went to the press and said that I was not exonerated. Everybody, my constitutional rights in the Constitution that I want to terminate have been violated. That's what you want to do, you pathetic coward. You're trying to bait them into doing it, and also spread information that this exonerated you when it does literally the exact opposite. And you go on to say, it didn't even mention President Trump's name. Yeah, it specifically doesn't mention your name to protect the due process rights of you and others who are likely criminally indicted or who the special grand jury recommend criminal indictments be made. Then you want to talk about the 2 perfect phone calls regarding election integrity. You mean the phone calls that we've all heard where you extort and threaten the Secretary of State of Georgia, may I add, who is a Republican, who said that this was a free and fair election and the most secure election in Georgia history? But nonetheless, you threatened the Secretary of State. Find me the votes, Brad, or else bad things are going to happen to you, Brad. Find me the 11,800. Find me the votes, Brad. It's not a perfect call. And the fact that in your mind, while a former president is extorting and threatening people, the fact that you were not hung up on, the fact that Brad Raffensperger did not slam the phone or, I don't know, throw ketchup at you or throw ketchup against the wall, because apparently that's what you believe the indicia of leadership is throwing pickles and ketchup across the wall. Because Brad Raffensperger didn't engage in that conduct, that's what makes it a perfect call, you idiot. You traitor, that's what you think makes it a perfect call? By the way, if you listen to the call, Raffensperger does object. Raffensperger says this was a safe and secure election, Mr. President. This was absolutely everything you're saying is not true. You're getting incorrect information if you are claiming that there was fraud here. That is not true. That is not true. They pushed back as much as you can against a maniac, wannabe tyrant traitor who holds the office of the presidency, threatening someone. Okay? Hanging up the phone doesn't mean they object to the phone call one way or another. Their words do. And by the way, that's not even the legal standard. It is your threats. It is the fact that you were extorting, that you were saying, find me votes, change the results of a free and fair election. That's what your traitorous tyrant mind was doing at that time with the criminal intent possessed there too. So no, and you go, okay, well, I'll always keep fighting for true and honest elections in America. You are a gaslighting traitor. You were not exonerated. Quite the contrary. If you want to know the one thing that actually was published in these sections, which are not the important sections, because the important sections were not released to protect due process rights of people like you, who want to destroy our Constitution. If you go through it, it actually does say, again, after taking this extensive testimony of the alleged election fraud that you claim, this is what the grand jury said that is published, that there was no widespread fraud in the Georgia 2020 presidential election that could result in overturning the election. But you are a Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, traitorous piece of crap who wants to inject disinformation, even when the constitutional protections that you are afforded are the reasons why your name's not disclosed. This is the type of filth that you spew. But your days of getting away with this are coming to an end. I can tell how scared you are by the fact that you're writing things like this. I cannot wait until you are criminally indicted. Those walls are closing in fast on you, fascist traitor. You'll see. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We are on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to your incredible support. So hit the subscribe button now. Also, check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. You will love the exclusive content we have on Patreon, but most importantly, it helps grow this independent media platform since we're not funded by outside investors at all. So go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. While you're at it, check out Killing County on Hulu. I executive produced it with Colin Kaepernick and others at ABC Hulu. It's about the crime, corruption, and cover-up that takes place in Bakersfield, the highest crime rate, the highest police shooting death rate, the highest homicide rate in the country, and that's all in Kevin McCarthy's congressional district. Check it out. Killing County is on Hulu right now. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Again, hit subscribe. It's free to subscribe to this YouTube channel. See you next time.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.